Hello everybody, I hope you're having a good day. Recently I had to cut my hair because whenever I would take showers and stuff, the pipes were getting drained because of a lot of the grease accumulation in my hair and the different chemicals that the hair naturally makes. And so I cut my hair, I didn't really want to, but I kind of did. And I understand why a lot of women don't like having long hair, because one of the things I forgot about having long hair is how messed up the pipes can get. Like when you're literally showering, even if you wash your hair every day, which is what I was doing, which is why I was so bad. Like you would start to notice when you take showers, you'd have that little pool at the bottom of your feet because it's not draining right. So I said, forget that. Vanity ain't worth that. So if it doesn't get fixed, I'll probably have to call a plumber. Last time to deal with the sink, it was like $500, but other places it was a little bit more expensive. So hopefully it's not too bad. But mainly in this video, I wanted to talk about karma, but I don't like saying karma. I want to talk about consequences, whether they be negative or positive. I made a video a while back talking about something called State vs. State, SVS. It's a video game I play. And in this video game, members of my alliance were doing, not my alliance, probably at the time. What they did was, I know they told somebody to come burn me when the states opened up because nobody else was burned when I woke up. I was like, that's bogus. They burned me. They punished me in their little jail system, Moses too, for a while. And then they were just bothering me, kicked us out of Nat 10, said we were traitors because we lost. Well, the reason why that had pissed me off so bad is because the game that I play, I had suggested to the guy who just became guild leader, we should all merge and defeat the other state. When I did that, he G-kicked me right before the SVS and tell everybody we lost because of me. I was a traitor, right? But then he merged all the guilds together, not for the SVS, but to battle our alliance and to keep us from getting forts. Why do that? So we had another SVS. And the clans from the other SVS are so fucking powerful, they don't have high power numbers. But the high power numbers that they do is because they don't have a lot of troops and arbitrary score. They have legitimate power score. So let's say I'm 100 million. If I got burned and lost all my troops, I'd probably go down to 50, 40 million, maybe 50 million. But these people, if they get burned, their score wouldn't go down because it's not troop score, it's actual power. Well, these people, I told them what our state's been doing, right? Because they reached out to me. When I did that, they came over and burned this motherfucker so bad and took their castle and destroyed them so bad. And when I woke up, I had a shield on, but they still told me, we're not going to attack you. We know what happened. And they tore his ass up. Couldn't even properly play in the castle battle because he lost his troops, like I did the first time. The reason why I brought that up is because in that person's mind, I'm so powerful, I'll never seek retribution. Nobody will harm me. It reminds me of Roman Greece. I'm the most powerful, nobody can harm me. It reminds me of ancient Islam, and it reminds me of England when their church had got so powerful, and the French and the Germans, right? Nobody can ever touch me, I'm the most powerful. But the reason why I talk about stuff like this is to let you guys know that's why it's called karma. You never in your wildest dreams would imagine an opponent being bigger because of how much power you have right now. It's the same thing of the idea of Christopher Columbus claiming he went somewhere special, when in actuality it was an accident. And when he found it, he had no idea what was going on. The same with other people's lifestyles. People think that there's just the center of the world. They think nothing can happen to me. Something else I've been dealing with, this is why I deleted another video a while back because I went full Matrix, but I don't care if people believe me or not anymore. I have been saying on camera, I am who I am. The creation cannot harm me. I went without insurance for like a month. And it was a scary time because in the United States without insurance, especially Illinois, you're getting arrested. They're going to impound your car and do all this crazy shit. 5 different times the police got behind me. And twice somebody zoomed behind me before the police did. And when they turned, the police turned their lights on and got them. It has felt like a literal force field has been around me. I had multiple times weed on this card and knocked the card off the table without no more weed. And all the weed stayed off the card and was on the table still. I don't know what the fuck happened. A lot of different things. Times at work, people have reported me and said some crazy shit. It came back to them and they got in trouble. Because I don't know what's been happening. But we have been told over and over, this isn't real, that's not real, science, if it's not this, it's not that. That's what I wanted to bring up. I was dealing with an AI, and I asked the AI a question about static electricity and dryers. And they kept saying, no, atoms don't have fields the way the question's asking, and blah, blah, blah. So I started recording what the AI was saying. My Google reset, as in like the page refresh, didn't refresh the page, and I couldn't go forward to the searches I saw anymore. Then the search I was on said, yes, that the dryer does create a static field. Because what I said in the video was the dryer breaks the hydrogen bonds. But I said it wrong. What I meant to say was it breaks the hydrogen bonds because the hydrogen is being dissipated, the moisture is being. So when I went to go look it up, some strange stuff has been happening. But I deleted the video because I started going down like pure matrix. I was like, oh, this is the matrix and look what's happening, blah, blah. But in all honesty, there's no, okay, quantum entanglement. If there's a particle with if there's an atom over here, a photon or a proton, and its electron is all the way over here, and light interacts with it, outside of the speed of light, the whole molecule or atom will change. So let's say you have a photon traveling. If you crystallize this photon and break it in half, both of those photons have the same data that it had when it was one. So the idea, you could be viewing something on this side of the universe, but it's actually all the way over here. Imagine what I'm telling you because of quantum entanglement. And so this has to do with like us not probably seeing the same colors and seeing only in 2D. The problem with humanity is that we lock ourselves in teachings. We're like, this is real, that's real. The same with the AI telling me, oh, this isn't happening and there's no fields on it. We think we know so fucking much, but we don't know anything like that, to be honest. And we're still learning, even with dealing with science. Honestly, I call science cheat codes because all we're doing is learning the universe, manipulating the matter around us, just like when people invent things. People aren't purposely inventing things. It's an accident when dealing with something else. I've researched almost all these men. And a lot of people that were inventors back in the day, popes, cardinals, bishops, holy men in Islam, the holy men, smart men in the church, the Christian church kind of, it started with Catholicism and Islam too, but holy men were smart back in the day. I keep saying this, prophets, and if you research some of these scientific innovations, some of them were popes and bishops. I swear to God they were. People don't know this shit. So, karma's a motherfucker, and the more, because I don't believe in good and evil per se. Like if you take this, somebody said that's evil, that's irrelevant to me. What you just said has no basis or moral meaning. But when you're maliciously doing something, if I take this blunt and go get a bunch of children fucking high and then teach them that's okay, that's evil to me. Because from my perspective, that's dangerous to their minds. They're not fully developed yet. But at the same time, I'm not a scientist, but I won't be pushing that fucking envelope, if that makes sense. And so I just teach of critical thinking and being aware at all times and knowing your surroundings, because I've said this before. Little shit that we say, oh, it's been a shitty day. It's going to be a bad day. Oh, they're going to bomb this. They're going to destroy this. You're speaking evil into, I mean, not evil, but you're speaking your own negativity into existence over and over. Women aren't like that. Women are beautiful. It's not going to be a shitty day. They're not shitty people. They're beautiful. They're brilliant. They're amazing. I'm telling you. Because we're speaking our demise over and over and over. Over and over. And some people just aren't aware to it. And they've been caught in this system that's so airtight. I don't care what nobody tells me if it's not edifying. And I tell people over and over, there's no such thing as a lie unless people make up what happened. If I'm having visions and daydreams and imagination, y'all call them delusions. Delusions technically aren't real from the perspective that you all are taking them. If I in my mind see a golden horse galloping down and a man on a golden horse who I call God starts talking to me, that happened. But when people make those things up, when people lie about things for power and clout, those are delusional people. They're making shit up. But at the same time, how I believe in delusional behavior and delusions of grandeur, if you're doing something and you can't do your ADLs, activities of daily living, or survive on your own or deal with your own shit, I'm not talking about because of finance. I'm talking about because you're up here and you're doing outside weird shit. Okay, that's a delusion to me. It's not, okay, you see God coming down in your mind with the crimson robe doing all the shit. That's not profitable to you if you do not convert that in the real world. Think of it like a solar panel. The solar panel is giving me all this energy. But if I don't convert it and use it in a way that's applicable, then it's wasted energy and my brain's going to fry. Do you see what I'm saying? So that's why I give so many examples and metaphors and likes and as and similes. So that way, when I am describing something or when I'm letting people know, they can understand in a better application. Same with a program. If I have a mathematics program that's doing all this physics and math, okay, they're just numbers. Until that helps me in the word, like a cash register. 1 plus blah, 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 minus this, that, blah, 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 cool math. But then that cash register helps me to apply it to something that's valuable in the real world. Same with NASA, dude. NASA loves science. Love what you guys are doing. But a lot of that shit isn't applicable at the moment. And a lot of that shit you guys are seeing are CGI pictures, but they're real. Let me explain. There's a sensor somewhere on a satellite or on a telescope or on something. That sensor is picking up all kinds of chemicals, photons, radiation. I call it data. When that data is received and marked within the sensors, then the computer creates an image that you can see in visual lights. Most nebula are gray and dull and beige. You can't see the colors from our visible light spectrum. I've also said this in a video. What if black holes are individual universes and we're observing them creating the multiverse? Well, that's what the universe, it expands and is in a vacuum and total darkness, and there's random energy everywhere else, and it looks far away because our size of perspective. But if I got infinitely bigger, everything would seem like it's right there in my hand. This is sci-fi. This is just fun. Follow along. I'm not saying this is. What if a black hole, look at it like a zip file, and then that zip file is compressing more and more data. But because of quantum entanglement and because of the nature of the whatever else is caught on to that, like quantum entanglement, what if all the visible light on the outside of a black hole is the packed data on the inside, and that's how we view it on the outside? And the only reason we can see it is because those photons or those chemicals and that energy within the black hole is quantumly entangled and causing a massive projection from way out here because of the gravity and the fields. And then that's what we're seeing spin around universes. And so the black hole would be the universe itself, and the observable universe is all the gas and light around it that's being exemplified on the outside. Because they say light and nothing can escape a black hole's event horizon. But all that shit is touching the event horizon. Yeah, we can still see it from way back here. How? And also, black holes, to my perspective, are 3D. The reason you see them in 2D is the same reason we see in 2D. Because the light, it bends back to the black hole and can't escape. So you can't see it as a three-dimensional object in space-time. And so just some food for thought. I've said this over and over. This is a static universe. Everything has a charge. And if it doesn't have a charge, it's neutral. And that's why a lot of this, like when you pull the dryer and when you pull the clothes out of the dryer, why is that happening? Thermodynamics, I believe, because you're adding a lot of heat to an atom and the field's getting bigger. Well, then they say it's because the electrons bounce off each other. Okay. I don't feel no static. It's because you're adding heat, energy. And so the AI just kept saying, no, it's not because the heat. It's not because the heat. But then when I do this, I don't get no static shit in comparison to what the heat from the dryer is doing. And that's another thing I want to talk about. You guys let these men from hundreds of years ago create stones. Then everybody goes, no, that's not real because this person. That's not real because physics. That's not real because science. Open your minds and learn. Understand. Even like you could be grilling and you could see the particles going back and forth, but it looks like a wave. And then the light particles that hit it make it look like an invisible wave of matter that's just manipulating the earth. Okay, does a grill have gravity? Why are the light particles affected by the gravity's release of chemicals and all that shit? It's the same as a light bending around an atmosphere. It's just some things have different types of charges. So look at that energy being released from a grill. That's the same thing that's happening in the sun. No, it's not. The sun is releasing energy, but it convects on the outside. And so the energy shot out, but then something's catching it, causing it to swirlwind and generate over and over and over. The entire universe, macro, micro, divide this, that is the same. It's one universe with one principle. And the more we divide things, the more complicated it gets. While these divisions can be helpful with understanding individual things like creating a lighter. I need the plastic around the lighter. I need the carbon hydrogen chains that create the butane inside. I need the gas inside. And when it's released and interacts with this spark, it changes the chemical composition of the gas and creates a plasma. That plasma further fuels the other gas to keep it flowing. Now, because of certain divisions, I know that. But if I was to look at the world and say, this is magic, it's the only way to create fire, then my division hindered myself from the rest of the body. So something I wanted to talk about also, people are probably not going to accept this. I am half Satan. You are half Satan. You all are. God is half Satan. That is where the great separation is coming from. You all try to be so holy, but then when you create your institutions of holiness, you then forsake the good in the good. So killing's bad, enslavement's bad, this and that's bad, but because it's holy and I'm fighting for evil, you see how now bad is good and good is bad? Now what y'all consider bad is fighting the good, and now they're the good ones. You see how that works? I'm not saying you're half evil and to go do half evil shit. This has to tie into when I said you're giving yourself spiritual strokes. You're taking half of your being, forsaking and calling it evil, and then covering it with leaves. Humanity will never reach singularity until they have a common foundation or ground. And once humanity hits singularity, we can realize that once we have a common ground, then within those divisions, we can appreciate them and learn that we're all one. What is the only thing all humans have in common? Humans! It's a lot harder to shit on people when you're not treating them like a piece of paper and actually involved with their life. Which is why a lot of politicians, presidents, and everybody else are fucking disconnected and terrible. And why politics is so horrible. Because they don't fucking know shit. These people create inflation. The government lends Afghanistan or Nigeria $20,000. Now that $20,000 is $200,000 because of inflation. Stop letting these people who use evil manipulate us, speak new things into existence, and be who I am. Not Juan Bruce. You. All this shit they're teaching you in the news is bullshit. None of it makes sense. Oh, turning plastic into gasoline is worthless. A lot cleaner emissions once you deal with it than plastic. And not only that, it costs too much to do this. What costs what to do what? You was born and you didn't know shit. So how is something that you didn't know about now too expensive? Because you was taught that. It seems like anything cleaning up the earth is too expensive. But when destroying this motherfucker, oh, that's free. Y'all are full of shit. And the more you do now, the worse. You guys keep saying it won't be in my generation. My great son won't blah blah for 5 billion years. Y'all have no idea what you're talking about. Your own mind within the next 50 years will fucking collapse. And if your mind don't do it, other violent, vile creatures will. Because look at Japan with these pods. All type of homeless people living for the law and people just you could sleep in parks with tents and stuff. But in America, after they made you homeless, stop saying they did it to themselves. In America, after you fail their system and they make you homeless, then they accuse you and get Fox News pundits to get on the air and say, we should kill the homeless. And then homeless die. Y'all are fucking retarded. And everything you do, you think you're powerful. Oh, I have control of myself. I can do. You know how many people have dementia I work with and totally forgot who they were and they mind eating the fuck out them. I'm not saying that to say that these people are evil and they deserve that. I'm saying you all think you fucking know everything. And when the day comes, the same people, Like how you're like, I don't give a fuck. Then when it's your time, those next people who you train not to give a fuck are not going to give a fuck. And they're going to walk all over you. Boy, I woke up to some intense karma today, boy. Same with my coworkers. Somebody tried to report me and said they heard screaming and thought I was beating a resident. But they was sitting outside before clocking in listening to it for 15 minutes. Then they went and told the boss they think I'm beating the resident because they said, the resident said I pulled one over on him. Fully dementia Alzheimer's. So then, guess who got in trouble? The person. So you sat there for 15 minutes listening to screaming. He wasn't screaming, the resident was, and we didn't know it was good. So why didn't you help? Well, does the resident have any marks or anything? Is anything wrong with them? No. Write a statement. I can't, my wrist hurts. Came back and smacked them in the face. Well, it's just so amazing. And I'm going to tell you guys, as a black man, I'm getting sick of the fucking psycho fantasy land bullshit. It's harder for me in this country. I see white people walk around my job so hard. This sucks. I don't get to blah, 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 blah. They're talking about me on camera. Y'all are fucking weenie hut juniors. And when a real oppression comes, you're going to be mowed the fuck over. I'm just telling you to buck up, man up. The way I see people of every fucking race being treated. But yet still blacks in this country, y'all think this shit sweet? Keep oppressing the people that could teach y'all and help y'all. Keep creating racism and lying on us if you want to be destroyed. If you want to fucking get toppled over. Because I've said things on this camera for 4 straight years and they're all coming true. All coming true. Get in your little minds and say delusion, science. All the scientists taught me. This psychologist taught me. Did they teach you those things? Right. Because somebody taught them and told them that's how they have to do. Right? Y'all don't know shit. You know what you're told. And nobody seems to want to learn but wants to fight and argue all the time. What you guys are doing for Palestine is the most hypocritical shit I've ever seen in my life. It would take me hours to name how many times this has happened to countries and y'all have not gave a fucking shit. Now all of a sudden it's Palestine and y'all are losing your minds. I lose my mind because this is default who I am. I hate oppression. But protect the gays. We love the blacks. Blacks lives matter. Oh, the women. Me too. Y'all are so fake. Actually give a fucking help people. When I see all these homeless people on the road, y'all hear me talking? Do you think I stop my car every 2 minutes and give them fucking food money? They have the Oasis. They get 200 plus in food stamps. They get all kind of shit in this country. But every once in a while I see somebody who don't get none of that and is struggling. And I help them. I'm not giving somebody on the corner $20 so then I watch them. You give them money, they go walk across the streets to the liquor store, get drunk, and then still stand out there. Now I want weed. Now I want this and that. Cool, that's your profession. You're a beggar. But I'm not giving you money to get drunk and fucking high. Because when I was hurting, they clowned me for those things. That's called karma. I am who I am. And I am the living one. I am the chosen one. We have done this 6 times already, yeah ho. But do you all know what that means? Right. Sometimes I don't like going down the sci-fi rabbit hole because people pull out sadistic rabbits. So, boy, my game just received some nasty karma. And as they do in the video game, it's going to be everywhere. This is a static universe. They say matter doesn't blah, blah, blah till you interact with it. Quantum entanglement, double slit. The Big Bang was a lie. This really happened. Man, y'all, one bang and the entire eternal universe started. Y'all are looking at one nova, probably from this black hole, and don't know how to measure it at all. If humans were more humble and actually looked for things we could figure out, instead of wasting fucking millions of dollars looking at fucking black holes, we would be a little bit better off. If all of you in your countries, I live $17 a day for here. My country is the most beautiful. Look what we could do here. Y'all are dumb. Not because I love your entertainment, it's cool. But the more people think that their shit is the best shit, you're missing out on so much in life. And the more y'all topple over oppressed people, how can I explain this? This is a blunt. It's a nice, strong blunt. And it's going to keep smoking and smoking till it's not anymore. This blunt is your capitalism and your financial systems. And when it's no longer smokable, the sober people gonna fuck y'all up. Let that metaphor be an example. Because America hates pedophiles. America hates racism. But Trump is running around fucking on whatever he wills. All his cabinets being brought out as child touchers. And still seeing homeless and blacks hanging. Everybody that does something I would consider evil is going to be fucked up and humiliated. I live life, oh, it's their perspective, their perspective, their perspective. Oh, them, let me make them. No. Now it's let me make me happy. I grew up thinking, oh, if I would just be a little nicer to everybody, if I would blah, 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 blah. Then I realized, nigga, you being so mean to yourself? Well, how's that balance? How would I tell you to kill yourself and be nice to everybody else? That don't even make sense. Because if I'm telling you to be nice to everybody else, I'll tell you to be nice to you too. You don't have to be terrified of everybody. Oh, they're not going to like me. They're not going to like the face I'm making. I'm not smiling. Then get the fuck out of my goddamn face. The fuck? I'm not attached to you. You don't like what I'm saying on camera? Go watch some more of these psychopaths. Go 17 million light years into space and learn what a black hole is. Y'all are fucking nutty to me. And I can give a fuck about your opinions unless they're positive. Keep praying into the airwaves for a God, while you, the Most High, forsake yourself. Because when the punishments come later, it's not all magical gods light me on fire. It's I'm a dumb fucking retard. I didn't listen to my own intuition, and I thought shit was sweet. How about that? I have people who are mentally handicapped and physically disabled. You all are dealing with a deficit. If something is wrong with the part of your body, it takes extra help to deal with. I don't hate you for that. I love you more because you survived stronger than these weak fucks. But this is why I sought them and praise you all. You won't never hear me calling a disabled person or a person with mental retardation those things. I will call them kings and queens. Because they survive better than these fucking retards out here. But when you have it all and still choose to live like you're mentally retarded, I have a problem with that. When you're some fucking leader and think your balls don't stink and think you can't get a haircut, keep on pushing, buddy. They took out some of my kings. Y'all are next. Excuse my cat Wendell. He's a little sick from the air being on a lot, so I turned the heat on. But I wanted to give a couple more examples. When I was talking about why the heat from the dryer creates those type of fields to where the electrons can just pass through, or different things like that can pass through. If you look into fusion, when dealing with the sun, there's something called quantum tunneling. And when dealing with quantum tunneling, a lot of particles can break through a threshold because of the current motion and because of the heat involved, I believe, because of the current energy involved. So normally it would take a lot of energy to do fusion to where things would turn into deuterium and heavier elements. But because of quantum tunneling, these things can travel through. And this is just another phenomenon like the double slit experiment and quantum entanglement, which is why I also believe that black holes are just zip files with a bunch of data inside, and the swirling gases and things around it are essentially just the electrons or whatever being magnified to infinity or something, or maybe the particles that are still entangled to the other particles inside, and that's the visible spectrum around it we see. Almost like a television, right? There's a bunch of data being zipped into it, and then on the what comes out of it are visual rays of what's on the inside. So that's just a little sci-fi. I've told you guys I don't believe that's what's actually happening. I believe that each black hole is a universe. I believe actually this is all like the outside is empty space. And I believe the universes we see are the black holes and the structures around that because even if we can't see something to our visible perspective, let's say we just see a nebula somewhere. Why is all that gas clumping together like that? You know what I mean? There are structures we cannot see yet. And that's why I talk about the gravitational fields a lot of time. And I talk about magnets and orbits. Because essentially what you're seeing is you're seeing a magnetized or a charged. You're seeing, let's say, okay, the Earth. You see a bunch of rocks and stuff around it. That's magnetism at work to me. Because at first it wasn't rocks, it was like a molten whatever. And then as it hardened, it cooled. Just like if you were to melt something, and then after time goes by and it cools, it's now a different structure. And so essentially, I believe that because of a charged entity on the inside of things, then you get gravitational fields where things are attracted to it. Almost like when you take stuff out of a dryer because of thermodynamics, and now the atomic nature of those fields are different than what they were before they went in the dryer. Something else I like talking about, distance and perception. This blunt. This. I am touching it. I am feeling it. But what if this is just nothing more than a set number of data and numbers on a board? What if this was a number, a big number, a calculation? But from my perspective, once the data is inside, I see it as this object, a feeling. I said in that video that I deleted, what if we're nothing more than a giant number? And just like when you play a mobile game or something and you auto-calculate the results, this number is consistently moving. And sometimes this number is added to slightly because of feelings and maybe medicine or healing. Or I'm telling you, I believe in promoting self-healing, just like how they say purring can promote healing in the organs and stuff. I believe we can also do the same thing. I believe the mind is like a computer. I believe the mind is given instructions all the time. And through that, because we have free will, it does what it's told. And so that's just a perspective. If you need medical help or something, do what you need to do. I go to doctors and stuff. I'm not a liar, but I also am not a dumbass. I speak life into existence continually. I will not prophesy against myself on purpose. And if I do, make me more self-aware and guide me, please. And help guide me like GPS. So I believe that we can promote certain things. And when dealing with like things that I talk about, like black holes and stuff like that, these are all essentially just ideas, theories, thoughts, the imagination working, calculating. And so, you know, the more I know and the more I learn, especially when dealing with things like how we see and how photons are just packets of data that we continually receive, and how we see in frames. We're not seeing a continual motion. Sometimes if I move fast enough, you can't see my hand, or if I get close enough, you wouldn't be able to see my hand go by, because I'm not giving you any frames for that moment, so to speak. It's actually a lot more deeper than that, but that's a simplified way to put it. And anything you see, I'm not this color. All forms of light are hitting me, and what isn't absorbed goes into your eyes. So actually saying that I am brown is actually redundant. I am every color except brown. Does that make sense? This is every color but green. Technically. Sometimes light is absorbed into the electrons. Sometimes light is reflected. Sometimes it's refracted. Whole bunch of different terms you guys can learn if you're bored. The more you know. And so also with the numbers, every time we feel pain, ouch, a number being redacted, Because actually, when you feel pain, certain amounts of cells are actually dying. Like when you get hit, a couple of red blood cells just got impacted. Especially depending on how hard. If you see, like when you see blood come to the surface, I forget what the term for that is called. But I think that's when it's clotting. Because what's happening is dying on the inside. And it just clotted, those red blood cells. I could be wrong. It could be another term when it comes to the surface and you're seeing it like that. But just a lot of different things. You know what I mean? I believe this whole universe is nothing more than numbers and electricity and everything else. But, you know, I still have to survive from my perspective. There's an episode of Rick and Morty where Morty asks a hologram of Rick why he's eating chicken. And hologram Rick said, "What'd you have for lunch?" So when Morty told him what he had for lunch, hologram Rick said, "Oh, so you didn't eat? Because I don't eat those things." You see what I'm saying? Like, it's all from our perspective. Even the idea, I hear them all the time saying, it was all from a single bang and everything. So there's an infinite amount of me's in infinite directions doing different things. And while that sounds like the most brilliant thing ever, that is the most illogical thing I've ever heard. Because of free will. And I know that might be hard for some people to perceive because they're thinking that like when I hear scientists, like they'll make a statement. And then when I look at the experiment based on the statement, just like when they said the double slit and the splitting of a photon, what's actually happening and what that data is actually carrying at a level you will not be able to perceive probably for a while, you don't know. And you're doing the same thing religious people do when they say magic. You're, to the best of your ability, trying to map what is happening. So I'm tired of people with their definites. This is what's happening. This, that. And the only way to reach singularity is when we realize there's billions of different perspectives and human. Plain and simple. So this is just some food for thought, man. I am open-minded now. I don't know what this is, but the more I learn, it's starting to feel like this is the 6th time. Yeah, ho. That's just some sci-fi. But yeah, man. To me, honestly, the older I get, the more crazier somebody sounds, the more I trust them. And don't get me confused. That when I say that, I'm saying the more of themselves they give me, the more I trust them. But when people come up to me saying nothing but terms from the dictionary, I know that they are bot because they have not critically thought about any of these things. Somebody quotes me, "Oh, aliens, this planet, blah, blah, blah." Okay, that's plausible. It's when they start coming up with random shit like, and these aliens can fly and jump and do this and blah, 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 blah. It's like, whoa, buddy. All right. Now let's create a comic book. See, I don't have to call them like there's so much good that's being forsaken. And I believe that we don't have purpose at the moment besides survival, I guess, keeping the number up as long as possible until the number reaches 0. But what I'm saying is, why are we like this? So serious to Lord God. Go to work every day and do this and that. Go. It's like, what are we doing? We don't know. We don't really have purpose. So why hasn't this turned into paradise? Why isn't everything perfect? Why can't we leave our houses, walk down the street, and lay on Fruity Land? If you know what Fruity Land is from Rick and Morty. We should have done this already. What are we doing? Humans do. Please wake up with me. Please spread these videos. Spread the words. They don't have to know who I am. I am who I am. Test it. I am who I am. I am the one who frees. Ye shall have no gods before who I am. No idols. Don't bow to them or worship them. Love who I am with all my heart and soul. Do not take my name in vain. Or any negativity I do could spread to the children, and then the next generation could be affected. Do not take who I am in vain. But everything I just said, love others the same. And then look, don't kill or rape. Don't commit adultery. So if you're not into that, don't create a marriage contract with your name signed on it with your blood and soul attached. Live your life how you will. I'm not your master. But I can be if you want to make idols out of shit. Don't bear false witness. Don't be lying on other people for no reason. It's nothing. It's just don't lie. Talk about something else. If make something up that's like comedy or friendly. You don't have to lie on other people or get people in trouble. Thou shalt not covet for thy neighbor's house. Don't want what everybody else got. Be thankful for what you got. Get on YouTube and you'll find. I'm not saying search for people with less, but if you do it for edification or to help them. Honor thy father and mother. They're your creators. And then once that happens, then you're the creator. I am the child of God's. And now I am God. God is from Germanic paganism. I'm telling you it is. You know where the word Gothic comes from, what y'all call the devil evil? This is why I say God. This is why I say I am a spectrum and 50% of that is darkness. But when I come together like the yin and the yang, I can know who I am and create a spectrum where I don't cause harm. And if there needs harm to be done, it is for the right reason. Not causing harm to others, but protection. Even when protecting, not being a brutal, violent psychopath. Keep the day of rest holy. Give people a day off of fucking work. A day or two, if you will. People aren't fucking slaves. And I be forgetting one, I think. Don't kill or rape. Oh, and thou shalt not steal. Thank you. So yeah, man. Let's come together and theorize and have fun and grow and learn and turn this into paradise, man. Paradise Hotel.